Hello everybody, welcome to another class. It's really super exciting. I think this is probably going to be one of my favourite ones because, well, first of all, I've got a little bit of cleaning up to do because I've already spilt, but that's it's just a little spill. And then one of my favourite ones, because what we're going to be doing is painting some new flowers, which is a little bit exciting. So excuse Amanda going in and out there. What you've seen is we're going to be doing this year of flowers. Now, I purposely will just show you these, what we've got. So using round brushes, using our flat brushes, putting in the roses, and then also doing the irises and the sunflowers as well. Now, we've got a lot to get through in this class. So I am going to go through our brush loading and I'll draw your attention to it as we go through the class, but I'm not going to dwell on lots of practice in here. You've got your teaching guides, so you've got your painting pages for you to be able to practice all of these. So I'm going to do one on my picture and then one on my page, so you'll be able to see, one on the page and one on the picture, so you'll be able to see me doing it twice. But I am wanting to just sort of whiz through it and let's get both these pictures painted in the next half an hour. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to lay down where we're going to put our composition. And that means we're going to need some greens. Now, just as long as you're working with two colours. Oh, and by the way, can I say I've just found one of my new favourite things to do is getting the paint off here. Once it's dried up, you can peel it off, look like that. It's really good fun. Okay, so a little bit of my pistachio and then also another green, which I was going to use, let's see what I've got here, leaf green. So we're going to put these two colours out, and as long as you're working with two shades, one of them light and one of them dark, in the colour story that you want, the technique will always work. So I've got a dry brush, and I'm going to pick up some of the pistachio, and then some of that leaf green, both colours on each side of the brush. So you can see I've got two triangles of colour. I'm going to load my brush by stroking the bristles backwards and forwards until I can feel it's nice and creamy. So more into the green of each of those colours and then stroking the brush backwards and forwards to get that really lovely finish that we've got there. A little bit more paint and again stroking it backwards and forwards. Now we're building up a little ridge of paint here. I need to be careful when I am painting that doesn't start to have an influence and spoil the design that we're doing. So we need to think about that. So the first one that I'm going to put in is just a stem off to the side. So I've got somewhere for me to put my flowers. I'm just going to pick up a tiny bit of white because I'm going to get this to really show up. So I'm just going to go over that stem just there. So there it's gotten really strong and bright and vibrant. And then I'm going to come again on this side and I'm just going to go out like that. And then we'll put another one up there and another one there. And you can see I'm just building up some of the shapes and getting some dimension in this. Now, I've run out of paint. It really does feel very, very dry on my brush. So I've made sure I've reloaded it well before I do the next stroke, and that's push down and come up. So again, on this one, we're going to go down and push up. Let's do another one like that. Push down and then come across. So I've started to build that bouquet for us. Okay, now I'm going to do the next one, and I just want to show you a slightly different shape to it because that's sort of like a bunch that you would pick that would be hand tied round the bottom. In fact, while I'm doing it, I'm just going to put that there to remind me that I'm going to show you that at the end. And this one, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to curve round at the bottom. So we've got more of a tighter shape. So that's going to be a tighter bunch. So again, I'm picking up both colours. So it's really down to you which way you choose to do this, but let's get some more stems in. We'll get this one up here. So I'm thinking about where my flower heads are going to go, making sure that I've got plenty of them in here. And then one more just for luck, just there. And now, so now we're going to go on the chisel edge, press down and up. Okay, on the chisel edge, press down and up. Plenty of paint on this time. Really get that brush well loaded. So, and we're going to go down and up and down. So I've got a stray one there, but that's absolutely fine. Okay, so you can see from the two of these, this is a much more open bouquet. This one is much tighter, but still going to give us really fabulous results. So I should end up with both of these finished at the end. Now I'm just going to take some of this green off because I want to put in my carnations first, and I want these to be super bright. So I'm going to pick up the red and the white and load my brush. So loading it backwards and forwards like that, and then side load some more of that red. Okay, so you can see I've got those there. Right, now first one is going to go up here. So I'm on the edge of the brush and I'm just wiggling. And again, I'm just going to pick up that white, tiny little bit of the red and just wiggling. And you can get about 4 strokes out of this before it runs out of paint, because they're quite small strokes, so they don't use as much as you perhaps have been using on some of the other designs that we've done. And notice how I'm making this go into like a little ball. When I've been painting on Create and Craft and we were doing this and I was showing it when we had some of the presenters painting, one of the things that was quite, without me sort of getting into giving them a lesson, because it was all about proving that, anybody could actually paint. They could, without a doubt. They were painting and they were painting well. But what we didn't get quite was the composition. Now, I've just put a couple of petals in there with just the white and without the red on the end. And I've done that because I want to get some variation in this design that I've got. So I don't want it to all be too super perfect. And again, a tiny little bit of that red. And I'm just going to come out just here. So you can see how I'm now properly layering up those petals. And I'm just going to let that bit just come down there. Okay, so there's one of our flowers. That's the first one that we've got in. I'm just going to put a little bit more detail just here. Let's get a little bit more, make it a little bit rounder. So to do that, I'm going to need just a tiny couple more little petals here. There we go. So I've got that there. The next thing we need to do is, again, I'm going to get some of my white on this and we're going to put some little buds in. So these are going to be the little tiny ones before the petals have actually sort of come out. So they want to be quite tight. So I'm just going to get a little bit of the red there, just on this one. So these are my little buds. I'm going to put another one of the carnations in down here. So again, white and the red. I'm going to pop that one down here. So, oops, side load my red again. Just forgot to do that. Put that in. So you can see I'm just literally doing those little wiggles. A little bit of red on the edge of the brush. And go backwards and forwards. And then you can, again, look at your flowers when you're painting. Use Google, if you happen to be lucky enough to have them growing in the garden, but just get them so that they're in front of you so that you can remember the colours and, check the shades and make sure that everything we're doing is sort of as close to nature, albeit stylised, as you possibly can. And while I'm doing this, I'm just going to talk to you again about the Cadence paints, because this hybrid acrylic is so easy to work with. So that's the start of my carnations, and I've said I'm going to paint this twice. So I'm just going to move on to the second page. And again, so let's have a look at what I did. So I've got 2 colours on my brush. Those 2 colours, load it backwards and forwards, and then side load the red, and a little wiggle, and then miss and a little wiggle, move it and a little wiggle. And what's important about this part of it is I'm not doing them in a line. I'm not going like this next to each other. I'm overlapping them. We want them to overlap so that we get some dimension to the design. So get that overlapping, just like you can see I'm doing here. And it can be random, you know, you can have one in that's there and another one that just goes in that is a bit longer. So they can really be quite varied. So let's get these. This is quite a small carnation that's coming together here. But you'll notice how, if you check, you know, the way that the flowers are actually made, they've got these little stripes in them, which are just fabulous. And they really lend themselves to it. Now, I just want to draw your attention to my brush. It's getting very fluffy on the end there. And that's because the paint is building up in the middle and holding that chisel edge open. So the way that I'm going to correct that, I'm going to come onto my palette and I'm just going to draw that paint down the brush. And I've immediately corrected it. So now when I'm working, I'm picking up a little bit less than I was a few moments ago, because I've clearly got plenty of paint inside the brush, and I'm just going to then repeat what I'm doing. Just get these, and I'm turning my brush over in my hand as I'm working, and just get that little edge of the carnation. Just let's get some white tips to it. And I'm working with the number 16 brush today. So I'm really making this, you know, sort of really work. Now this flower, what I've done here is I've got my red and pink graduated across the brush, and then I've tipped it with some white. So I'm just going to get some little white tipped buds in. So we'll put another one up here. I'm just going to go up this one. So you can have them tipped in white or red. You make the decision which one you prefer. So they're together. I did do 2 flowers on the last one, so let's put 2 on this one. We'll do a white one as well as the red one. And I'm going to put that one up here. Have it close by so you can see the difference. So I'm just going to get my brush well tipped and then just slide that little bit of white. So there you've got, go over this one on here. So you've got that little bit, those little bits of white just on the tips of the carnations. Tiniest little bit, get those wiggles. We get a few more little wiggles. I'm quite high up on the brush as well. Not sort of holding it really close. I've got my hand quite high up, and definitely no arm on the table. That's really, really important. Okay, so I'm happy that with that. Let's look at the 2 of them together. Still look quite different, but giving us that little bit of detail. Now we're going to put in the elements for these stems that we need. So I'm going to go into my dark green and my bright green, and I'm just going to pull this together like this. And then we're going to go like, let me do, first of all, what we do. We're going to go over, and then let's do a little round, and then bring in that stem, because let's just see if we can get that. And that stem in, I think. Right now, these just slide round and then do a little bit of a bud to get that carnation bud in. I'll take this, and I'm just going to get that greenery around it and then let that come down. Let's repeat that on the second one that we've got here. So again, I've got the 2 colours on my brush, so I'm just going to go round and then down. Let's get that in place. In fact, let me get that one down first. Then fill in that gap round there. I'm going to go up these, just catching it. And then that's going to come down. And up, catch, and then down. And that's going to come round. Okay, so we've got the start of this story going on. Next thing that I'm going to do, just going to wipe that paint off and pop that into some water. And I'm going to move on to doing our little sunflowers that we've got. And to do those, we're going to need to add in some yellow into this colour story and change our brush. And we want to be working with a round brush. And I've picked a number 14 round. And so I'm going to now side load the yellow, the white, and then I'm turning it once more to get the red. So I've got 3 colours on this brush. All 3 of them there, ready. So now we're going to put these little daisies in. So the way that I'm going to, if I just turn this so you can see me painting better. So what you're going to do, you're going to press the bristles down and slide it and come up like that. And then press down and slide it and come up like that. Let's do another one. We'll press down, we'll slide, we'll come up. Press down, slide, come up. I'm just going to pick up some more yellow and a little bit more of that red. And we're going to go here, down, slide, and come round. So it's waiting for the centre to go in here. And I feel like it needs one more stroke there. Okay, so that's the first of the flowers. Let's now look what else we can do. And we're going to put another one in here. This time we're going to go all the way round. So I'm going to pull round. So keep loading. Down and come up on the tip. Press down and come up on the tip. And I'm turning the brush each time I lay it onto the page. I'm not turning it on the page. I'm turning it round, so I'm using the paint all the way around the brush. So the next thing is down and push and come up. Down and push and come up. Don't worry, it's fluffy on the end because we're going to be covering that in a moment. So down, push, come up. Down, push, come up. Look at the way those colours just pop. Okay, so we need another one of those. Maybe just one more. So this one here. So we'll go down, push, come up. Down, push, come up. Down, push, come up. And then one more leaf, down, push, come up. So we've got those little petals. Let me do that once more for you on here so you can see it. Thank you to everybody who's making comments. That's really good to hear from you. Really lovely to know that everybody's there, and I'm seeing such amazing work from you now. It's just fabulous. Really looking forward to seeing more of it. So keep those pictures coming. You know, you guys are doing great, and the more we do with this, the more we're going to be able to move on to other things. And then when we get to the middle of this year and we start looking for tutors, hopefully you guys will be our first little lot of people that want to teach and paint. That would be amazing. So again, little daisy just there. Let's put another one here. So down, and very quickly, when you run out of paint with this technique, using this round brush, it doesn't look as good. So there, again, here again. So I've got another one just there, and this one can come over from the top. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of white and go back over that one there because I felt like I missed a little bit of it. In fact, I missed a bit there too. Okay, so I'm just going to put 2 of the daisies on this one, I think. I'm happy with the way that's coming together. Okay, so we'll just put these to swap them over. So I'm going to come back to this one. And I'm just going to pop that. Now, Barbara, I think, Tara, I beg your pardons, asking when you'd add blending medium. And I wouldn't be using it using this technique, because right now, what we want is we want some depth of colour with it. So what I'll do is on my next free class, which is on... I tell you what, we'll work it out, because Monday we're doing all the dates for the next 3 months. So what I'll do is, on my next free class, I'll do a session on all the mediums. I think that could be really useful, couldn't it? And I'll see if I can do that on Create and Craft as well. Now I'm going to put the rosebud in. So for the rosebud, you do a wiggle at the back, like I've got there. Then, and this is how I start to paint now when I'm building up compositions. So I've got a wiggle there, and I'm going to put, where shall I put another one? I'll put one here. So I do all the back work of it. Then I come up here, and I'm now going to put a tiny little bud in. And again on this one, a little tiny bud. And once more, just here. So I've got those in. Then I'm going to come out to the side and just get myself a little bit of colour to the side that you can see here. Whoops, don't like that. It really stands out, and I've got some water in this brush. So I've taken out that water, because we know that that's just going to make the paint go muddy. And let's get those ones in. And there. Just slide that round. A little bit more paint from each of the colours. I'm going to go over this one because I didn't like it. Go around that one there and here. So I've created the start of those 3 little buds. I'm just going to drop this petal right down here and bring that round. Drop it right down here and bring that round. Drop it right down, whoops, right down there and bring that round. And then round here, on here, round and pull, round and pull. So we've got those little buds in. I'll just put those onto the next page. So you can see here. And oh, interestingly, we've got some newbies today on first Zooms. Really, that's great news. I mean, I love the fact that we've got some new people. So welcome to you, particularly Tara, who has just messaged us to say it is her first Zoom. So it's really good to have your company. And all our regulars, you know, brilliant to see you guys. And I just hope you're enjoying your painting as much as I'm enjoying sharing it with you, because we are now starting to see, as I said earlier, some absolutely fabulous work. So I put these little buds in again, as you can see, round here. And we are just literally filling in that detail. Then remember we went out to the side now, didn't we? So we'll do this one flower at a time. So out to the side, whoops. So there and here. I've got a lot of paint on that brush that's opening the bristles up, so I'm just making that go away just by stroking my brush. Then I've got, so now we're ready to, let's go down here with that petal and round. So do another one, where we go down here and I'll go round. And another one that's down here and round there. Can see how they very quickly capture the design, and we just need a little bit of detail to bring in that little comma I'm getting. So there, you can see how I've put those in. So there are little roses. Now we do need some more greenery in here, and we'll do all of that in one go. So I'm keeping the purple on my brush. I'm also pulling in a tiny little bit of the white over the lime, and I'm just going to literally put this on. And let's get some of these little ferns in here and really just fill up the detail so that we can get this so it's nice and full. We've got all of that in. We'll keep that going. So again, you can see how the colour changed there when I reloaded my brush. Got a nice result with it. My roses, I'm just going to put, again, a little bit of detail in up there and pull them down. I'm not happy with that. So that stem's a little bit thick, but won't worry. This one will go here and we'll pull that one in. This one we need to pull in. This one we need to make sure we've got it in. And you're not going to really see a huge amount of the stems of these, but what I do want to make sure that we are seeing is not seeing is loads of big gaps in our picture. So just going to go again. I've got white and green now, and I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit. Not quite happy with the result I got there, so I'm just going to tidy it up, putting in that darker green and that white, just finishing off the colour there. Really pulling that together. Still got a little bit of water in the brush, which I've not been feeling, but I can see it now as the greens are coming together and they're starting to go muddy. The colours are just blending together and not staying significantly different. So look at the difference now. Really got it nice, much better there. So I'm going to come in here. We've got, let's put some fern in, just going behind the flower that I've got there. So again, onto that brush, get more detail on it. So we come down here, and didn't really like what happened with the stem of that rose. So I can pop something in just there. Little bit of something different. Let's take the fern up through the back here, and we'll come this way. Just fill that in. So that's another great little filler that we've got. More paint on our brushes. So we've got that bit of detail. Feel like this is very bare here, so I'm going to fill it in with, again, a bit more of the fern. But I'll also just get that colour just tucked in there. Right, so now what I need to do is I'm going to put in where the baby's breath's going to go. And this isn't on your teaching guides, but I want to show you it. So first of all, you need 3 or 4 or 5 little stems like this, just touching the page. So let me show you that again. I'll do one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5. And then I just get a couple of them, just sort of extra leaves going off them. And then 3 of them coming down and a stem. So a few little extra leaves going off. Then 3 coming down and a stem. And I'm going to put 1 in here. Let's put those in. And then 1, 2, 3 and a stem. And then what we do then is we're going to go to our scruffy brushes. So you need one of those brushes that we've made for ourselves. So we've taken a round brush and we've given it a haircut, and that's what we're going to end up with. So I then go into my white, and remember we always do this with 2 colours. So I'm going to use a little bit of blue. So I'll pop a tiny bit of blue on the bottom of that brush. So my white and my blue together. And you're just going to pop the white on here, and then the blue will just go underneath. It just gives it a little bit more depth. Remember, we always use 2 colours. So that's there. And then we've got 1 up here. You can have them as big or as small as you want, because sometimes you get them in big bunches. And then we've got another one that's here. This one's good because this is in a good place to break up all that greenery that I've got. So that's there. I'm just going to get the some green and some blue together and make sure I've got a stem in there so it's a bit more, it's a bit more obvious. So now we've just put a couple more of the stems over the top because the leaves have just disappeared. So I'm just going to go here with this one. I'm just going to put this in. It's got a little hint of the blue in there. So I've got that blue in. And then finally, the last little bit of this one that we need, and it's going to be with a little bit of a really nice dark colour. So let me see what I've got in my pots. Just going to use, what have I got? We'll go in here. So I'm going to use a little bit of this anthracite. This is a metallic colour. A tiny bit of the burgundy in it. And I'm just going to, with a hint of white on the edge, just do the centres of these flowers. So they get that, and then a little tip of white on that edge to just finish that off. So if I come into this one, which I'll just do for a moment, and I'm not going to do the whole thing because I want to be able to move on, but I think you've seen how we've got those two colours on there, and then here, where we do this bit, a little bit of the white to tip it off. So you've got that all coming together as a composition. And then I did that little bit of work around here at the beginning to remind myself that I wanted to show you something. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do this as string. So I'm just literally going to do it as a string, crisscrossing across the bunch of flowers. And so once you've got one lot in, you go back, you get your white on one side of your brush and your green on the other, and we just go the other way. So you just have got an extra couple of strings, and then I can just do it so that it just looks like we've got a little knot and some bits of string holding our bunch together. And that's our first bunch that we're going to do. So I'm ready to move on to the second one now. So, you've got a few ideas of different things that you can do there. And the second one that we're going to take a look at is working with the sunflowers and the irises. Now, I've used the metallic for the vase here, and I want to just do that because I want to give you an idea of what you can do with it. And then I'm going to very quickly show you as well how to use these to do a glass vase. So first of all, I've got my copper, and I've just got a hint of another colour on the side, which is the bluey green that's left from my painting. So I start off on one side and come round with the brush, and I'm trying to get a really nice round shape, and I'm laying down the paint as I go, making sure I haven't got ridges anywhere there. And then you build up your circle as you work. So literally you keep going with this, and you're building up the circle. You must make sure that you've got plenty of paint on your brush. But once you've got one layer down, it's much easier to go round it and get that second layer. So there's my first. Okay, so I've got the start of my pot. I'm then going to go up here again and just fill this in. And by having this little bit of bluey in the paint, it's almost like it's got a patina, and we've got a sort of a rusty patina in the bowl. And then I'm just going to put a little neck on the bowl. So let's get that round there, and just get that so that I've got a little neck on it. And there's our rusty patina on our vase. So looks quite dimensional, which is fun. Then we can, and this is where you would use your blending gel. So I'm just going to reach some of that, and I'm going to take a tiny little bit of the blending gel. I've taken it across the whole of my brush, and I'm now just going to pick up a tiny little bit of the white. So I've just got a little tiny bit of white, and I'm just going to use that over the top here to just get a little bit of a highlight, like you can see that I've got here. I'm going to take some of the copper and just bring myself and put myself a little flat base on it. So I'm just on the chisel edge of the brush, just putting in a little flat base to the design there. So I'm just going to attach that just there and there. So there we go. So it's a little base of my vase. And now we're ready to start filling in and putting some flowers in. So I'm going to start off, and I've just put the green and white over the copper. So let's go and let's think about where we're going with this. We'll put some proper detail in the height, and I'm then going to paint the first of my leaves actually over the front of the vase. So I'm just going to pop this one in here. And remember, if you're seeing any of the strokes that you don't already know or don't have them, you can get extra teaching guides or painting pages off the Highlight Crafts website. And we've got all of the Cadence products on there as well. So it's highlightcrafts.com. Don't forget to go on there. There's all your brushes, literally everything that you will need, you'll find on there. Then I'm going to come down the side here and just out a little. And I'm going to take a little bit of the lima green here. And I'm just going to put another little leaf in just there. We'll let that one go out there. And then up here, we need a couple of these flat leaves. So we need to push down and slide. We've got here, and push down and slide. So we've got the detail there. I think I'm just going to bring in one more just there. Not worrying it's not touching the top of the vase, because I'll deal with that later on. That brush is now going into the water to be cleaned off, and I'm going to go with a slightly smaller brush. So I was working, I think, felt like a number 12. I've got a number 20 or an 18. I've got a 16 here that I'm going to work with now. And I'm going into, let's think what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the white and into the dark blue. So I've got ultramarine and white here. So just going to clear off this white and get myself the fresh paint from underneath. So I'm going to go into there, side swipe that plum, because we want the blue to go nice and purple. And we've got the colours just here. Quite liking the way that colour's coming together. Tiny little bit more of either the red or the, oh gosh, that red is gorgeous. Yeah, that's the one we want. Okay, so now I'm going to put an iris in. So I'm going to go wiggle up to the top and come back, wiggle back down to the bottom, reload my brush. I'm going to come out to the side. I'm just wiggling, as you can see, and then pulling that back. Let's go out to this side, wiggle and pull back. Then we need a leaf that goes, a petal, I beg your pardon, that goes round like that. And at this point, I think it would be nice to put the yellow centres in. So just side swipe the tiniest little bit of yellow, and then you can go over what you've just painted. So there. Now I'm going to get that again. Let's get that colour together. And just side swipe the tiniest little bit of yellow. Really is just quite a small amount. And that goes to the middle. And we're going to go round and bring that back up there. Okay. Then we need to do that once more for this particular flower. So a little bit of each of the colours. And again, a tiny little side swipe. And that goes into the middle there. and this comes round up there. Whoops, missed a bit. Let's go up there. Okay, that's the first of our design. I'm going to paint another one of those while we're on a roll. This time I haven't picked up the red because I want slight variation in the colours. So I'm just going to go out and up and back round. Then tiny bit more white. I'm going to go round here like that, and round here like that. So this one's a lot tighter. And then we need that little tiny bit of yellow. We're going to go over here, there. Can turn it over because I've still got the yellow on the other side. Let's just come round. So back in to pull the paint down my brush. Tiny little bit of yellow. Might not be quite enough, so a little bit more. And we're going to go in here. So there. Now I think I want to do one of these where it's not quite open. So let's get a bit of the red on this one. So we'll have it quite purpley. So we're just going to go up there and then come down. Or you can go up and across and put an extra petal in. I'm going to do another one of those, up and back down, and then up with another petal. If you want to be sort of really good at what we're doing, let's just get that bit smoother. Then we'll do another one here. So we go up there and back down, and then we'll go across with another petal like that. So you can see we've got 3 little buds there. Now I'm going to go into the green with the blue that I've got on here. So a little bit of white, the dark green. So this is a leaf green. And we're going to go up there, and then we're going to go up there, and then we're going to go up there and up there. So up here, and up there. And let me just get that like that. This one up there, and then again, we'll come down. Let's bring these ones down into the stems. And you know how irises tend to have this sort of quite chunky stem at some certain points where they've got potentially got more buds to come out. That's what we're doing. And then we've got the design here. And if you're left-handed, which I'm just being asked about, you just either paint in the opposite direction, because that's one of the best ways of doing it. And I'm just going to put these in here. So I've got some more detail to come to. Or you, it's really, there's no difference, because if you look at this, I mean, I'm right-handed, okay, and I look a bit cack-handed when I do it with my left hand. But just to give you an idea, when I'm doing a stroke, I know I press down, turn, slide, and come off. So press down, turn, slide, and come off. So it is literally, I'm just going to put those coming down here. So I've got all my greenery going on. Right, I'm now going to put a little bit more detail in here. So we've filled that vase, the neck of the vase, so you can see that that's starting to come together. I'm going to change my brush size because I want to be able to paint a bit smaller. So just dry this one off because it's a little bit damp. And then into here, and let's put these smaller leaves in. So down and flick. So let's get this in like this, just bringing in the design, as you can see. And over here we need again a couple more. We've got some here So we can pop those in. Let's get those leaves joined in. Make sure everything's joined up. Put another one over there because that looks nice. Put a couple more there and there. And then I think we just need some of this baby's breath again because I think it would just make it look good. So just putting these in. And I'll come up with a proper formula for this for you because I don't think I'm giving you a good enough formula for the lines that I'm doing for this baby's breath. So yeah, I'll work out a proper formula so you can see exactly what we need to do so it's easier for you to repeat. And then I've still got the white on the brush from before. Just going to pounce that in to make sure that I've got it really nicely covered. And let's pop that there. And a little bit of this just there. And some of that just there. And then I'm going to pretend that I've got moss in here. And I'm just going to put myself a little bit of moss along the top of my pot and just perhaps even have some of it just coming down the side of the pot like this. So a little bit of just trailing moss just coming down the pot to fill in that part of it. So that's our second project. I did say I wanted to show you how to do a picture where you're doing a glass vase. So let me just show you what I would do there. So first of all, oh, I don't know what's happened there. It's got a cut in it. I would get my extender. So you're going to need to work with that, and I bet I haven't got any. Let me just see if I've got some anywhere. So anybody that's my brush cleaning gel, it's my thickener, it's my blending gel. Anybody who hasn't done this before, I think I could do it with this actually. Let's see. If you haven't done it before, then it is down to practice. And the more you practice, the better you'll get. And it really just does all start to come together. Now I'm just going to use, so I've got in here, I've got a pre-made mixture of extender and some paint. So the two colours have just been mixed in and it's just been shaken. So I'm going to use this as my vase to start my vase off. So I'm literally just we're going to create a round glass vase. So it's got a very, very pale blue tint to this extender, which will help us a little bit with what we're doing. So it's my first part of my vase. Now then, you need to get yourself some white paint, and I'm going to do it white with the blue on the edge. So you can see I've got white and the blue, and you can still see that circle. And then what we do is we do this. We come round with that colour. And then I'm going to swap round, and I'm going with the blue on the outside. So I've swapped over. So you can see I've got the white on the outside first. And I'm just going to bring that round like this until I then get round to my extender. Can you see how already it's looking like glass? Isn't it? It's clever, isn't it? And I haven't actually done anything other than used my extender. And what will happen is as that dries, we will get, just going to go in across here with my flat brush on the tip. I'm just going to turn that upside down so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just flattening out the bottom, just giving it a slight oval so that you can see round the back of it. And then I need more of my extender. go into the bottle. So I'm just going to take out the back of that circle because we want it to be so that it's transparent. So there we go, there's my vase. And then up here, I'm just putting in that where the neck of the vase would be. So just the tiniest little bit of paint here. So just coming round there. Just need to get with my extender, and we're just going to come round here. Just need to see where I'm going with it. There we go. Just need from the top there, round. There we go. That's so, and again from the top there, just round. So, and that's how we get our glass vase. And once you get going, you can add in a little bit more colour if you want to. And then if I put in my stems, what I do is I go from here, like this, and then in the water, and it's got extender in it, so that will dry very, very slightly lighter than it does up here. So just a little bit more of that blue extender to bring that in here, there, and you'll see that will dry. And they get magnified in water, so they look a little bit thicker. So let's just get this one lined up here. So I'm just going to do a couple of stems, just like that. And then the one thing I haven't shown you is how to do the sunflower. So I'm just going to put a sunflower on here, and I need a very dark centre. Let me see what I've got that's going to work. So here we go. I've got some Oxford green. This will do it. So we're going to Oxford green and the bronze. They'll should start and work. I'm going to put that just here, and I'll put the bronze just at the top. Oxford green and the bronze again, and a tiniest little bit of yellow. And now I'm going to put the whole of the centre in like this. So you keep going round, you're working with it so that it's like a donut. So you're making the centre of the flower like a donut. Then we go with our flat brush, and you get your 2 shades of yellow, or your yellow and white, or yellow and white and a tiny little bit of red, because you do get sunflowers in lots of colours. So you get orange ones as well, which look pretty fabulous. On this one, we're going to go here, here. Oh, wow, I've got loads of water in that brush. Yuck. So I'm just taking out the water. And I hope for anybody who's just joined this class for the first time, you really are, getting engrossed in what we're doing, because there's so much more. This is just really the start of this fabulous journey of painting. So we've then put these little flowers leaves in. So that's our first one. Let's get one just more there. And then the second one, let's get that lined up. So we're going to go all the way round. So round, round, round. I like the way it's pulling out a little bit of the colour. And what we want to do is here, that I would have probably used black and a brown in the middle, the way it is on your teaching guides. But I quite like this sort of yellow that we've got here. And can you see how now the leaves are dry? This is drying, so they look like they're in the water. And then we go here, 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 down and round. Now, the next part of it is to go back with this stippling brush and just soften round those edges, because you don't want it too hard. But we do want that little bit of yellow in the centre, giving it. Right, so iris and leaves, I would always be working with flat brushes. In fact, up until this set of teaching guides, I've only worked with flat brushes. The daisy that we've done has been the first time that we've done anything that's got any other colour. In terms of size, it depends on how hard you press. So if I were to say use a number 10 and you press hard, you're going to get the equivalent of a number 12 or a number 14. If you press lightly, you're going to get the equivalent of about a number 8. So take your brush, lay it on your teaching guide, and start at the top. And if you're going over the design, your brush is too big. If you're coming inside it and you're not complete in the middle, your brush is too small. And everything that you've got is there as a guide for you to help you with what you're doing. If anybody is struggling at all, remember you can always message me, because I've had, even just today, I've had a few people sent me pictures that they've done, and I've looked at them, and and I will always try and find the time to reply to you if I possibly can. If I don't reply straight away, it's not that I'm not going to. Or just give me a gentle nudge, because it may have gone into my spam folder, but I will always try and reply. But what you do need to do is just practice, and you'll find the right size of brush will come naturally as you're working. But it's very much dependent on how heavy-handed you are. You can be 2 brush sizes out just by being that little bit firmer when you're working. Okay, so there we go. I'm not going to do any more to this because I quite like it as it is. But I wanted to show you how to get that vase on if you wanted to do it to look like glass. I know it's not on the teaching guides, but it's something new for you. Then you've seen here how we've been able to build this up into a little mini bouquet. The next level of this is having some of the flowers drooping, overlaying, working on our compositions. So I'm going to be doing more of that for you in the second year of flowers. Then I've also got here working with the metal vases to get the effect that we've got here. And then I'm also, the next thing that we've got is the next time on Create and Craft, I'm going to be bringing you how to paint from a photograph. So really remember, guys, I am not a professional artist. Well, I guess I am in terms of the fact that I've sold things that I've painted, but I'm self-taught, so I was you. I've learned how to be able to bring these designs to life. And, it's just great fun. And all I would do to you is, please, please paint, because you don't know how much you're missing out if you don't. So the glass effect, just for anybody who wasn't sure what that was, I've got in a spritzer bottle about the size of a broad bean of a blue, and the blue that I used was, just remember this, it wasn't ultramarine, it was, I'm going to have to check that blue because I can't remember it, guys. Oh yes I can, it was royal blue. So about the size of a broad bean, and then the rest of it, so up to there, is extender. And I've mixed it so that it's there, and what it's done is it's just given the vase a tint of blue glass. But you could have used my green, and you could have had green glass, so I've got green. But it can be any colour that you want. But you're going to need your extender, you're going to need your mixing bottles. Yeah, wow, just please paint. And remember, you've got everything on Highlight Crafts: brushes, painting guides, black card, everything that you need. And I can't wait to see you again. See you all soon.